Right. Chinese are coming on hard. In the south, I don't think they can break through. Their infantry cannot really break through. But this is a problem. This can break through. So it's a bit of a mystery how well we can hold our position. We cannot hold our current positions for long. We'll have to move. Yeah, it's maybe a turn, and then they'll start to shoot at us. We cannot stay here. Thing is, I'm not sure the place where we can stay. Yeah, it doesn't make all that much sense to rush in here now. Might as well just hold position. Our main goal here is always been to just block the infantry after all. And we've successfully done that. But yeah, they are gonna get nice lines of fire on us. I'll have to move troops after everyone is done shooting at something. What are our chances of destroying something like that? Pretty much 0. Yeah, you'll have to move now. They definitely see us. Still, these are the only real units that have any chance of making a resistance here. So if we just pull away without any kind of a fight, the situation will become very different than it is now. It's already pretty bad for us. Okay, this is not a good place for us to be in general. We barely see shit. So by the time we actually see enemies, we would not be able to utilize this unit to kill them anyway. So not sure if I want to move. It's a bit risky to stay, oh, of course, but lines of fire to the north are not great in either direction. And I don't think lines of fire to the west really matter all that much. Yeah, not my unit of choice to kill that one. The autocannon seems to be good enough. And we'll have to hold our position. Not a good position to hold, but still. Units coming through. I'm not sure we can do anything useful here. Right, we could probably kill the infantry. A decent amount of smoke. I still sort of hope that some of them will waste their shots while shooting at these targets. They'll definitely succeed in destroying them. The problem is, well, for them, that it's a gigantic waste of their shots. Not ammunition, but shots. We'll definitely move the tanks, but it's not a good time for us to do anything now. Mobilized, that's not actually a good thing. Yeah, the damage is welcome, but if they don't suddenly just abandon the tank, it's gonna be stay there in a stationary position, causing me huge amount of grief. 45 hostiles. Here there's a reasonable chance to go on the offensive, maybe try to take down the Gazelle, for example. However, it would still be... yeah, there's still quite a few of them here. I have to go in there, blast them at point blank and run away. It's not exactly a great plan at this stage. Especially since the goal has always been to just prevent them from actively and effectively countering our tanks. And for that, I don't need to do a goddamn thing. Might have to suppress that one no matter what we do. It's a little bit... well... I'd say I think it's a little bit too far away, but maybe not. I mean, someone has to shoot at it. It's one of those things that they parked in a very inconvenient spot for us, so I can't just let it go. If it shoots wasted ammo on these guys, all the better. No ammo left. Could run. It was basically a worthless target to fire at. I'm pretty sure it still cost a couple of points in suppression in these, but it also shows how little that matters. We need serious casualties on them, not a little bit of damage on an enemy APC platoon. That's not gonna cut it. What I would really like is these retreating troops to stop doing that. They don't need to achieve much, they need to just stay still. Okay. Things have definitely stabilized in the north against the infantry. These guys are retreating, so we're basically shooting at rear armor. Golden opportunity. Also no ammo. Yeah, this guy has to go. No truck can be where it is. You right? Don't need to do shit with these guys. We might want to go after the infantry, not necessarily to outright take them out, but basically whip them into additional speed when they come out of this forest. Otherwise, they'll just turn back and cause me additional trouble. I don't see a single enemy stock yet. Okay, that went surprisingly well. We still have to move some of these. I'm not sure which ones, but the two tanks at these need to hop out and maybe take a shot or two. We might have to consider moving these tanks to the north now. I don't see major problems here. Yeah, a couple of extra tanks might come through, but at the same time there isn't really... we lost the anti-tank units here mostly. They run out of ammo, so we are more or less reliant on these tanks to prevent any kind of a breakthrough. This is immobilized, I think, so it needs to die. So I wish they should die too, but it's probably retreating. Alternatively, we can fire at the routed tank. This is a much bigger threat, really. Harder to hit, though. Well, we'll take... shoot at something. Is it... the other tank is much closer, so if we hit it, it's likely gonna be destroyed. The other one might actually survive. And I can't say for certain this isn't immobilized. So if it stays there, it's catastrophic for us. There's not much I can do anymore. What about these? I think this was one of those I was thinking that we probably need to move it. It's... they definitely start shooting at it, and it's not gonna do a goddamn thing against tanks. It's also a fairly big target. But where do we go? It has to be here. But I think there are still 2 helicopters left. Single hellfire shot. It has to be against tanks. They are way too big of a problem at the moment. And we're gonna need a lot of casualties before they're gonna slow down. Has to be the frontline tanks though. Although, maybe that one. It's an APC, but it's a missile launcher really. Something a lot lighter would destroy it though. It does not need to be a Hellfire missile. Okay, these tanks are a good target, as good as any. Button, button, button. We probably got their leader then. It's not gonna do much, but it's the first real casualty that had any kind of effect on the overall morale. Right, single shot with this one. Not sure if we even should try to attempt to fire targets here. There's like 1 that I can see, that's maybe 2 that might still be able to push forward, and even if they do, they're not that harmful. I want a target that we have around 20% accuracy on with the main gun. Probably can't get that high. 0 is not good. But 13 is the best we can do. 14 with that one. And well, it's not a bad target to begin with. It's fine. We can't exactly fight off a huge number of enemies coming from the west when the northern tank group penetrates our defense line, which is like infantry squad and a sniper. Right, that should further hold things here. We would have a reasonable opportunity to go after that one. Problem is, it's not gonna be the only one. And they do have anti-air capabilities beyond that. Still, I think that's pretty much all I can do at the moment. Shit, Wasteland. Kill would be a good one though. Okay, I did not expect to win at this stage. Lost a single fighting vehicle, and their chances of doing anything is gone. 27 infantry casualties caused them, at the loss of 1. I still thought the main brunt of their attack was still coming. I guess the few extra casualties we caused in the northern section might have made a big difference. That would be mainly because of the helicopter fire. And in the south, they were not coming through anymore. So, but they could have easily caused a few hundred points worth of casualties, which would have taken decisive victory out of our reach. Not now. God damn it. What was? This was the end of the first mission. Veterans. Veterans! Yay for veterans! We're going to keep all of the units we have, so fix all. 191 points to spend. I think we could use more tanks. We don't have anything that can reliably take on their heavy tanks at close range. Besides the 3 tanks we have. And I think I basically bought them for that mission specifically. No. I specifically avoided buying tanks because they're so goddamn expensive. About javelin teams. Might as well keep them as javelin teams. I mean, they're not terrible, but they cannot handle that kind of a heavy armor, anti-armor role. They would be good against anything else but the main battle tanks, though, so they're not bad. I'll keep engineers as engineers. Who knows what we have to do still in these missions, and if we have to assault, we absolutely have to have engineers. Air defense versions, I suppose, are good enough. They successfully damaged a helicopter and destroyed APCs with their... What the hell is it? I'm not sure what it is. It's some kind of a minigun. The question is really the 6 self-propelled artillery units. The missile units are still good at this stage. Don't want to change them. I think we want to start shifting these to something else. The infantry unit we have, the headquarters unit is totally worthless. We have to change that to probably Super Cobra. Army would have the Apaches. But since we are Marine Corps, we only have Super Cobras. I think Hellfire version is the more expensive one. And I really had no major complaints about its ability to destroy armor, so it's definitely good enough. We should have 131 points left. I mean, we want some artillery units, the best thing against infantry, but how many? Would take one extra Abrams too, but I think 3 isn't a horrible number, and we can always buy 1 or 2 extra. Anti-tank missiles are generally speaking better, and helicopters are overall much more versatile, so it doesn't really matter what the mission is. The Super Cobra will be able to probably destroy more tanks than the Abrams will, just because it can start doing fighting much more early. I'll save the. Do I want to save the 70 points? I don't think so. The problem is that even if I could get major casualties, I can't exactly progress the campaign unless I get a fairly good result from the mission. Quite often decisive victory, which means almost no casualties. So I might as well just upgrade now. The upgrade will mean less casualties too. Right, 2 Super Cobras was already fairly useful in that mission. So natural 3 in the main army, and that's good scouting, that's good mobility, that is good anti-infantry, anti-light vehicles, anti-heavy battle tanks. That does mean we'll have to start buying ammunition trucks pretty much for every mission, but it's not much of a problem. April 10th, 1997. The Chinese offensive in and around Taitung failed thanks to your efforts. Chinese are regrouping their forces for another attack. It is time to take the initiative into our hands and go on the offensive. We are to probe along the coastal highway near Huning. Intel suspects that a mechanized force may be in the area, so use caution. So it can be, I would suspect most of the mission will have a similar enemy group as the opposition. So a lot of tanks, a lot of APCs, a lot of infantry, and some helicopters. It's an advanced mission. It's probably a meeting engagement. There's a very healthy amount of points we can use. Gatling gun. Yeah, these aren't bad, but for 144 points, I could basically take out maybe 4 tanks and likely less. So it's just almost always better to use these points on something else. Definitely a major design problem for the game. It excludes some of the more interesting options you could have. Armor-piercing cluster bombs, not bad. This basically has 2, I think, anti-tank missiles. For practical purposes, anti-tank missiles, so you wouldn't want to shoot them at anything else. And 2 cluster bombs, armor-piercing, so they could disable an enemy force, immobilize, do some damage. The problem being, how would this actually work in practice? We might get a couple of tanks, but it's still 128 points for that. It's not a good investment. Quick troop movement might be a preferable thing. We don't know how much time we have. Yeah, it's pretty much just drive along the road. Yeah, these mean nothing. Visibility doesn't mean anything. Sort of a hilly area at the center probably isn't controlled by either side, so we'll face off here. One army might be able to take control of it and shoot at the other, but it's still this hill area that we can use as defense. So we can either position further away and shoot missiles at it, if we have time. We have to push very close, make it a close quarter combat. But in order for us to do that, we would have to get some kind of a tank force there. And that is expensive. We could afford 3 tanks. On this mission, I'm not sure if that's a horrible idea. Basics first. 2 ammo trucks. For the helicopters mainly. I don't think we need SAM batteries. We have force anti-air units. They might not be great, but they can... nothing prevents enemy aircraft from doing their strikes. Nothing prevents artillery, helicopters, they're good enough to prevent. The problem is... there's gonna be an infantry fight too. And I am going to need something for that. But is this good enough? This is not gonna do shit against the tanks. These are weak as shit. Not gonna do anything against infantry either. Well, they have a moral suppression effect even on tanks. There are only 4 shots though. It's not a lot. Engineers are not useful unless I can actually get them to the hill we're gonna fight over. And I'm gonna need some sort of a distraction unit no matter what. I don't think that how missile jeeps are a bad choice here. Or Humvees. They might not be all that durable. Or the missile isn't quite as good as the improved HAL. And they're fairly expensive. But they're small. They are really small. Size 2 versus size 5. So even with enemy missiles firing at us, it's not can't be taken for granted they could actually succeed in hitting these. And I need a sacrificial unit that goes a little bit before our own units. Gunships, can I buy gunships? 4 extra Super Cobras. That's a reasonable amount. It's what? 32 Hellfire missiles? On a platform that's very hard to fight off. Should I buy strike elements? Basically a single aircraft that can fly in, do its thing, and then we're broke. No. We are going to need to move in with something. UEs maybe? Good harassing of infantry and good in taking over flags. It's basically would be valuable in the sense that might be running out of time if we have to wait for a long time and fight. But the UEs, it doesn't really matter because we can just stick a couple of engineers in there and get them to the flags. What else? We still need the distraction units. Mm, maybe some javelin teams. Yeah, pretty much perfect. Couple of infantry squads, couple of machine guns, mortars, anti-tank units. So we can do some kind of a initial firing to get the enemy to shoot at us. Then use the other units to clear the area. The fact that we have so many combat helicopters reduces the need for us to do that. Because if we can get a kill or two in the enemy group, that pretty much effectively suppresses any kind of counterfire anyway. Right. I deploy things and leave things at that. Ooh, 12 turns, and we'll have to reach the other side of the map. So, ooh, and they can probably get to the flags in the first 2 turns. There's no way in hell we can do that. Still, we're just gonna spread the cobras around. We need to get at least to this ridge fairly quickly. We can't be caught over here in the open. And missile units. Okay, this is a bit of a problematic situation with the missile units. They will not fare well if we basically get into close range fighting. They can't survive that. So at best, they might be able to drive here and just wait and offer support fire. But I think they can do pretty much the same thing by sticking way back here. The problem if we do it that way is that if we encounter trouble, I'm not sure if we can basically survive that. 75 range also isn't that long. I mean, this is about 10. Well, it's fairly long. Yeah, that's 5. That's another 5. So we can probably shoot somewhere here at least. So we can certainly shoot at the ridge there. We just place our units here. We will have to make a contingency plan. What if things turn shit here? We need to basically be able to do a smoke screen for these guys. I need something here. Not so sure I do. Out of curiosity, what exactly do you see? Yeah, they can see all the relevant areas to the flags. But we have to also assume the enemy will have a massive force. So we might have to take control of this and shoot at targets here, quite a lot of targets too. So we can't, no. That's, we can't think like that. That's why we have the helicopters, they can handle that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just stick them all here and be done with that. It also makes it much easier for me to put some covering system for them with the smoke. One of the engineering squad should be able to do it. If we need emergency anti-air capabilities there, we'll just rush a helicopter or two there. Right, G group can stay as smoke screen. Engineers have more smoke than the infantry squads have, so they're best used here anyway. Engineering squads are too big to be carried in vehicles, so still we might be able to stick some javelin teams in there. Javelin teams would have to deploy very quickly though. Yeah, no units fit there. Doesn't anyone have any carry capacity? Zero. 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 Right, so that's a little bit of a problem. Ammo trucks. I'll leave one ammo truck here. It's probably not necessary, but just in case. The other will stick with the anti-air units. Because they have like 4 attacks and then they're done with. Right, yeah, they're gonna spot my helicopters this way. But I don't particularly care. I know from personal experience from fighting the enemy how worthless that thing is. They're pretty much impossible to encounter just because you know they're there. Alright, helicopters need to take some troops to very close to this area very quickly. How much is your carrying capacity? 14. Ooh, it can take an entire squad of troops. Yeah, we can take marines there. That's actually not bad. We act quickly, we might be able to take a couple of squads of units there before the enemy gets there. It's not that important really, but the thing is, our infantry is basically worthless unless we can get it at least somewhat closer. So I think the infantry should more or less stick here. That's because it's a little bit easier for us to ferry them over. Not here though, that's where the vehicles, they need to get a little bit closer. If we can get to these early areas here, that's good enough. It's a rough terrain, it's covered, so the enemy has to more or less drive on top of them to come out. and they'll definitely have a lot of vehicle support at that point. Can't see the unit roster. Oh shit. I suppose we can just move forward at a steady pace. Mortars. Not sure if I care for the smoke. You can take position in that structure. The javelin teams. Let's put you guys up here, and that's it. Want to shoot smoke? I don't think so. So if the enemy doesn't just spawn right on top of us, I think we should be in a fairly good position. We're going to position somewhere around here and here, fight for some turns, then, well, we're gonna rely on the helicopters to take these if the time is running out. But yeah, it should be a fairly easy mission for us overall. Depends on how quickly they reach here, because if we reach this at the same time, that could be ugly. Like dozen, 2 dozen enemy heavy tanks coming through here, and we have a couple of infantry squads and like 3 tanks. So no matter how magical our firing capabilities are at that point, that's just not gonna be enough. But the helicopter should at least see us, at least allow me to see what the hell am I getting into, and maybe do the same thing as we did in the first mission. Basically cause a casualty here and there to first break the force apart a little bit, and then cause enough casualties to force an actual end to the mission. In theory, at least.